What's up, everybody? This is Caleb. Obviously, well, when you watch this, it'll be uploaded on YouTube. And yeah, pretty much just wanted to hop on here and do a life update. Um, I saw that there was someone actually on a dance video that commented, I think like 2 weeks ago, and then like a few days ago, someone was like, he should do a life update. I'm like, sure, presuming you all are subscribers, which I'm still trying to figure out um, how YouTube works, because when I first started and I actually got monetization, everything was like changing super fast. So I was just like, all right, I'm not going to be uploading videos. I'm just going to, in terms of talking, I still upload dance videos just to put something there. But I end up effectively not uploading. There we go. Get the glare off my glasses. Uh, any sort of like, I guess, life processing videos for, I don't know, the last time I made one was back in high school. And I was like, cool, I can monetize. And then it was just like, oh man, I got 14 cents and I'm not actually like in the, I guess, space to make videos consistently, or I wasn't even sure what to talk about. Um, so I took a break from that. Entered into college following that, and then once I entered into college, I was in a relationship for a few years. I think almost 5, if not 5, and that ended up not panning out. There were just a whole bunch of, I guess, conflictions. Not necessarily between us. Like I think we are always pretty solid as friends, but we weren't necessarily the best as romantic partners. But I think to some extent there's always a level of your friendship foundation wasn't, or that one's friendship foundation isn't necessarily the best if the romantic side ends up not working out. But fast forward through those 5 years, so that was 2012 to like 2017. um, Something actually happened with my mom. She's very ill and needed help, both physically and mentally. And yeah, I think following that, I had been attending college for a few years and things were panning out. So I was like, all right, well, I'm still going to be here in California, not going to deal with um, anything that wasn't really my fault. I don't have to, I can be impartial in terms of how I go about, I suppose, interacting, or just engaging with the situation. So stayed in California, uh, left, well, both left, but also got, I guess, kicked out um, of the spot I was staying at, because once my mom went back to, once I took her back to Iowa, then pretty much ended up leaving from the house we were renting and ended up going to uh, my then girlfriend's at the time, prior to that falling apart. And then going from there, it was just no longer a sustainable or healthy relationship. Left, yeah, left from there, and then I had a few people. That let me stay at their places um, for a little bit, and I was able to help them out during their time of need, um, or at least so I think. I hope so. It seemed like it worked out well, and yeah, pretty much was moved from Elk Grove to Sac. That was where actually my ex lived, and then was still in Sac, South Sac specifically, uh, and then moved from South Sac up to Natomas, I think, or did I move? No, I moved to Sac down next to Elk Grove, so like the Calvine, going toward Watt area, if y'all know, which probably none of you do, unless I have Elk Grove subscribers or Sacramento subscribers, which I don't actually know. But moved up from there to Natomas, had a job up there that was actually really well paying, and got to hang out with a friend of mine from high school, a different friend of mine, because actually there's two. One was he and his family, and the other one was just him, being on his own, living with another coworker that ended up working with. So it was cool. Everyone pretty much worked in the same spot, and we were able to talk about that and play like video games, and it was a pretty chill time. And from there moved to Sac, and then I think to Elk Grove, and then to Sac again. So there are a few back and forths, but all worked out. And I think it was just, trying to figure out, and I guess going through a refinement process really, and getting to the place that I need to be, which now is da 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 da. So this is the apartment that I and my now wife, have been living in since November, and yeah, it's been cool. It's had some challenges. I think there's been some adjustments, like finally, like living together. I think we were around each other a bit, but due to like scheduling, we weren't really like ever in the same place too often. I think just for like food, and we just checked in on each other and made sure each other were all right. I mean, with the exception of 2020, I did not really step away. I guess I took time to make sure I was good, with 2020, because it was just one of those things where, I mean, probably a lot of you know, where it's just a really challenging year, for folks. So, yeah, dang, I don't know if I'll just make this one part or if I'll do multiple. And I'm probably not going to edit it down. I think I'm just going to upload things and just, have them be like that. Especially if I keep them at 10 minutes or so. But yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much it. I've just been moving around and still dancing. I've actually taken time to study a bit more of the roots of hip hop, and popping, just because there are a lot of things where I definitely did not really have the, I guess, best understanding, or I wasn't really sure, or I guess I hadn't interacted with it in person. I think I always interacted with, ironically, the with the culture from a viewpoint of what was popular in terms of like dancers and things like that, but also I was just never really in person like that. I mean, I helped out with jams and whatnot, which I think is cool in terms of, and jams, for those that don't know, are dance events, that are, I'd say more hip hop centric, or what some might call street styles. I don't know if that's actually technically the proper term. So we'll say hip hop and hip hop adjacent. So that's like popping, locking, breaking, um, so on and so forth. Anything that you would probably imagine of like, oh hey, this goes with like graffitiing, or this goes with emceeing. Um, to put it very basically, is pretty much the what jams have in terms of dance styles. And I mean, there's other things. There are definitely other things in terms of what people bring to the table for like one versus one all style events or things like that, which are just all styles or open styles. There's been so many term changes, it seems, over the last couple of years. I'm still trying to like grab hold of it. But yeah, and that's been pretty cool. I think especially since hip hop styles and just that culture as a whole, or like any culture that's derived from people of black heritage, and just one's background or worldview. It's one of those things where I think you really have to be in person to get the energy, and just to really understand it. Otherwise, it's just one of those things where you're like, hey, yeah, this is something that's a thing, but it's not really anything that's ever really, I think, solidified until you experience it in person and you take that time to engage, really with the culture. Which, if you're engaging with the culture, it's always engaging with the people. You can't separate the two. Like, if we're talking about from like I guess a biological science point of view, right? So if you have a petri dish and you obviously have that, and you put in, I mean, bacteria is not the best, but I mean, we humans don't do the best in terms of taking care of the world and those around us necessarily all the time. But yeah, if you have a petri dish and you put bacteria in it, and then the bacteria grow and obviously make a culture. Or if you're talking about like the process of cheese making, it's bacteria and milk enzymes, I believe it's bacteria and milk enzymes, and then the bacteria form cheese cultures. They process the milk enzymes, and then cheese cultures come out, and that's how you get cheese, basically. There's definitely some more like probably microbiology within that, but if the bacteria are people and the petri dish is the culture, or the culture is the culture, I guess. You can't separate the two. Like, you have to have bacteria to form the culture, and you have to have black people to form the culture of hip hop, or whatever, or really people of black heritage. I prefer to say that, because otherwise it's just like I don't know, to some extent I feel like you're kind of just putting like, oh yeah, black people versus like people of black heritage. That might be like a small thing, but I think personally for me it's just helped navigate conversations, to some extent, at least. But yeah, so you can't really separate the people from the culture. And yeah, that's actually been part of my process, which I posted this on my Instagram. I might post that in this video description if you all want to follow me. I don't post too much on my like main feed, but I do post stories every now and then. But yeah, back to life update. I am attending school again, so actually just got off a Zoom call with a counselor at the school I'm attending, and that was actually really helpful. Like he broke it down and really took time to make sure I understood things. I'm like, man, it's like I don't know if it's just the cultural difference between like Sacramento and LA, but the it seems a lot more chill and people are more willing to like take time and be like, yeah, here you go, and just break things down. So blessings. Uh, but yeah, and other than that, I guess the woman I was dating for the last few years, who actually I found immediately after pretty much my uh, ex and I split up. We ended up getting married back in February. So, woo 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 woo. But yeah, that's been pretty cool. Um, and yeah, just been chilling. But hopefully you all are well. I might post like a part 2 or something. And yeah, actually, I'll probably break this down into like 3 parts. Um, just wanted to do like, I guess, an overview since that's usually how things are broken down. And yeah, that way you all have an idea of what I've been up to, and hopefully you all are well and have survived and thrived, hopefully, for sure, uh, through the pandemic. But that's all I got.